Hi everyone. Um, this is the first of a few tutorials I'm going to put up that just goes sort of step by step through well how to get to the sort of pass point of my part of the module with the Fibonacci sequence. So I'm just going to go through it step by step. I'm sure you've all got versions of this anyway, but it never hurts to go through it one more time. So I'm going to start in Excel. And here I've got xn minus 1 and xn minus 2. If you remember, this one, xn, is the number we're trying to find, the next number in the sequence. And it just basically means that xn minus 1 and xn minus 2 are the two numbers that come before it. So if we know that we want to start with 0 and 1, and so we know that those two numbers add up to make the next number. So xn minus 2 and xn minus 1, add them together and you get xn. So 0 and 1 should give us our answer there. So I'm just going to put equals and then that cell plus that cell, and we get 1. So 0 and 1 added together gives us 1. So what we now need to do is we need to shift everything along now. So the 0 disappears, the 1 moves into this position, and that 1 moves into that position. So xn minus 2 all of a sudden is that number. This cell is that one, and this cell equals those two added together. And then what we should be able to do is drag the formulas down. So if I start with this one, sorry, 1 second. Let's do that again. Drag that all the way down. I think we said in class we were going to do sort of 40 or something like that. It can be as many as you want, really. Oh, and select that one and down all the way. And so this column here actually gives us the Fibonacci sequence. Okay, right, so that's what we need to do in Excel. If we go to Max, I've got a completely blank patch so far. So the first thing I'm going to do is press N for new, and I'm going to give ourselves a make note. And if I press space, I can just give it a velocity and a duration. So a velocity of 100 and a duration of, let's go for 500, which is 500 milliseconds, so half a second. And then we need a new note out. And I'm going to connect that. That gives the pitch output. I'm going to go to pitch there. And just be careful, velocity is there, so we need to go to the middle inlet there. Okay. So, what we're going to do with our Fibonacci sequence, so the numbers in it, well, we're going to use a U menu, so new, and then U menu. Okay. And if I go to, make sure I've selected the U menu and go to Inspector and Menu Items. So if I go to Edit, and back to Excel, and just reselect it, just make sure I've done it properly. Obviously that wouldn't work, why would it? Select that, copy it, back to Max, and whack that in. What you do need is a comma after every single one, which is slightly frustrating. Oh. No, particularly interesting thing to watch, but I'll do it for the sake of completeness. Feel free to skip ahead this part, by the way. Okay, great. Okay. And if we go back to here, and if I just block, yeah, we've got all our numbers in our U menu. Okay, so that's great, and we can leave that for now. We're going to scroll through that number. That's what that's through the numbers in that U menu. And to do that, we need a message, and we're going to put next. Okay, and we're going to connect that to our U menu. Now, if you remember, we can choose from either the item number chosen or the text as a message, and actually we want the numbers that we've loaded in. We don't want it to be that's item number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. So we're going to use that out there. So let's just get a number block or an into block. Connect that up. Lock it and just see. Yeah, great. So actually the numbers that are coming out are the Fibonacci sequence there, which is good. And we could, in theory, connect this to the pitch, and that would be all right up until we got to 89. But then beyond that, we're going above the MIDI note values of 127, and so these won't make any difference, and nothing will sound. So that's actually not great for us at the moment. So I'm going to delete that patch code for now. So it's at this point that we use modulo 12. And modulo 12 means that we divide it by 12 and output the remainder. And that gives us the 12 semitones in a scale. Okay, so do new percentage space 12. And put that there, and we'll get a number block to see what happens. Lock it, and so if we go through, and you can see it's outputting numbers that we can do something with. Okay. Again though, if I connect our number block up to the pitch and turn this up, it's really, really low pitched, and it's actually, if you think, the MIDI note values that go from 0 to 127, this is always going to be somewhere around, always between sort of 0 and, well, 11. So it's going to be really, really low pitched. So to make it something a bit more pleasant to listen to, we're going to say, well, I'll tell you what, if we add 60 to it, then that will mean that we're in the key of C, around middle C, which is a MIDI note value of 60. So I'm going to a new add, and I'm going to say 60. I'm just going to move these out of the way so we've got a bit more space. So that number's there, and then let's have another number block so we can see what we're doing and make sure that everything's right. You could in theory just go straight in, but I always think it's quite nice to double check that everything you think is working is working. So let's have a listen. Cool. Okay. So if you can get to that point, then you are on the right track, and that's great. I'm going to stop this there, and I'll start another tutorial that kind of develops this further, so we can implement some rhythm and note duration control and some other bits and bobs as well.